Welcome to Atlanta, jacking hammers and bows. Back to the mackin' and jacking the clothes. Adolescents packing the foes. A knock on the door. Who is it? I would happen to know, the one with the flow. Who did it? It was me, I suppose. Jay-Z in the rolls.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever episode on the All Around Atlanta Sports Show. We have commercial breaks in this show because it's going to be a longer one because we try to cover more than just one sport on this show. And I'm joined with my co-host, Ryan Barnett, at his house and over the phone on the hotline, Connor Quinn. So how are you guys doing today? Ryan, you first.
I've been doing good. How about you?
I'm fine. How about you, Connor?
I'm doing well.
And let's just go ahead and start the show. So, the Braves playing tonight in Pittsburgh after starting 1-3 to start the year. R.A. Dickey makes his Braves debut as the Braves look to bounce back from their 5-4 loss yesterday. So, Connor, what are your thoughts on how the Braves are going to be able to pull that off?
I think from yesterday's loss, where they got 3 runs in the 8th inning and just couldn't. They were 90 feet away from tying it in the 9th. I just think that I hope that they can get some offense early going so they don't have to come back and try to win.
And Ryan, what are your thoughts on how the Braves are going to have a bounce back game?
I think just they need to work hard, go out there and do what they need to do.
And who's the key player to watch tonight in that game, Connor?
For Pittsburgh or Atlanta?
You can name one from each if you want.
For Pittsburgh, Andrew McCutchen, and for Atlanta, Matt Kemp.
And R.A. Dickey at 42 years old. Well, it'll be interesting to see how he performs out there. Being number 4 in the starting the last in the starting rotation, along with Big Sexy, in the number 2 spot, Bartolo Colon. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these guys perform throughout the year. But yeah, let's go Braves. So as breaking news the other day, Ryan Howard, former Philadelphia Philly, signed an Atlanta Braves minor league contract. So, Ryan gave me a fist bump saying he's excited. So, Ryan, what are your thoughts? And was this a good signing for the Braves?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been playing baseball since I was really young, and one of my idols was Ryan Howard because I know he's always been really good, so I'm pumped for him coming. And I think he's going to be a big addition to the Atlanta roster, being able to hit those long balls and stuff.
And, Connor, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a great signing because I remember watching him in past years on different things he did with the Phillies against the Braves, and he can really hit the long ball, just like Ryan said. And he's been in the league plenty of times, so he's a veteran, and he knows how to play the ball.
And he'll be a great backup to Freddie Freeman down at first base. Also, news today, Georgia played Georgia Tech in SunTrust Park today. So, I don't have scores on the game right now. We'll probably get to that later when we get to UGA. But do you think this was exciting for the second ever game at SunTrust Park? Not the first ever Braves game because they've only had an expedition game there, but the second ever event ever at Turner Field that's a sporting event was Georgia versus Missouri in baseball. Ryan, do you think this is exciting for the Georgia players?
For sure. I mean, Georgia, not the biggest baseball team, of course. They're focused more on the football program, but still I think it's going to be big for them.
And Connor?
It'll be a great game because these two rivals, mostly in football, and I just think, cause I don't know what the scores have been from past games and when they played each other before, but I think it'll be a great game. They're playing in the new home of the Braves, and I think it'll just be a battle to see, and I hope that it'll be a great game both ways.
So yeah, that's the Braves news. Moving on to the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks take the dub against the Cleveland Cavaliers last night by a final score of 114-100 to move them up to stay in fifth place in the Eastern Conference at 41-38 on the year. The Cavs fall to 51-28 on the year, and I don't think because we had difficulties in the post-game show yesterday, you couldn't really hear our co-hosts in the show. So sorry about that, guys. So we're just going to go over it again. The Hawks game plan worked perfectly they sat out Dennis Schroeder with an injury. Dwight Howard was resting, and Paul Millsap was resting and trying to get back to 100%. And as Dominique Wilkins said in the post-game show, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So he's expecting the Hawks to come out with the same game plan. So how are the Hawks, how is LeBron going to be able to bounce back to knowing most likely that the Hawks are going to come out and try to do the same thing with even their star players in? So, Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Well, knowing LeBron, and no offense to any Hawks fans, but I'm a big Cavs fan. Knowing LeBron, I think he's going to be able to help the team come back. And he's going to have that winning mentality like he always does going into games.
And Connor, what are your thoughts? I'm sure they're very different.
I think LeBron's going to bounce back. I know he's going to play a lot better than he did. Because as I was listening to the post game on SportsCenter last night, he said that shots just weren't falling last night for Cleveland. And that's the story of how they lost to the Hawks. And I just think that they'll show up back at Joel Serena on Sunday, and I think it'll be a better game to see. And I think the starters for the Hawks will return.
I agree definitely. One difference is that was a very different game from when they came to town early in March when the Cavaliers hit a career-high NBA total 25 three-pointers. Last night, only 9. The Hawks outplayed them in pretty much every category, so it'll be interesting to see how LeBron bounces back or if the Hawks are able to dominate again. But yeah, moving to Hawks news. See if there's anything here. Yeah, not much. Yeah, so what? And anything else to say about the game last night, Connor, other than how the Hawks played or whatever?
I don't really have any other things to say. Is that how Tim Hardaway Jr. he just turned the ball towards the end, not letting up. He had a hot hand there towards the end. And he played a really good game. And also something Mike Dunleavy and some others. Dennis Schroeder didn't play. Malcolm Delaney had a really good game as well.
So did Jose Calderon. So
yeah,
it was an all-around good performance. As Mike Muscala said, yaka.
Yeah, he had a really good game too. I think it was honestly. I know everyone was talking about when they found out that they weren't playing the stars, but it's all that is real. And I think that it was a great game for the starters to kind of go out and to play a good team. They ended up beating them.
And moving on to Atlanta Falcons news, unless Ryan, do you have anything else to say?
Not except for that. I think the Cavs just having come back from games like this bigger though, like
Warriors blew 3-1 lead.
Warriors, yeah, like that, and also having them be in first place and the Hawks in 5th. They're full 10 wins ahead of the Hawks in the standings, so I think that's all really.
And the Falcons getting on to the Falcons now. They blew a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl, which we're all sick of hearing. But anyway,
I only learned one thing from that game.
Yeah, the Atlanta Falcons signed a 5-year contract extension with Desmond Trufant, and how much was it? Wasn't it $67 million or something? 5 years.
I believe so. I saw it on Instagram earlier.
Yeah.
That I think it was on their page, but they signed a big extension, and he is taking up the deal. And for hockey news, 10 years ago today, Danny Heatley scored 50 goals in 2007. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that is a fact. 10 years ago today, Danny Heatley for the Atlanta Thrashers scored his 50th goal in 2007.
Yeah, so other news in the Falcons that there's rumors going around. Should the Falcons trade for Richard Sherman? Before we get into the details, Ryan, what is your thoughts?
I do not think they should trade for Richard Sherman. He's going to be really hard to get off the Seahawks, so they're going to have to get rid of some guys, some good players. Nonetheless, it's not like they're giving away like Desmond Trufant, especially having just signed to Matt. So I think they just need to let him go and try and get a little bit of a smaller corner.
there are rumors going around that they would trade him for a 3rd and 4th rounder for this year. And knowing that the Falcons have been able to pull off some of these good trades lately, all of a sudden when you get Richard Sherman into your locker room, it changes the whole mindset of Atlanta and everybody on him from the hate. And all of a sudden, it also puts depth at your cornerback position. You're able to have Jalen Collins, who can convert to a safety. Robert Alford can move to nickel, and then you have Desmond Trufant, an elite cornerback, right next to him, Desmond Trufant. So that'd be a great signing for the Falcons, and I think it'd work out very well. But, with the Seahawks trying to compete with us as they are right now, as they're falling behind, and metaphorically, and the football world, it seems like the Falcons might not be able to pull off a deal, especially with the Seahawks, who are trying to catch up to us right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
What do you think the Falcons should look? What do you think is the specific? I can't speak today. Words are hard. What is the specific position that the Falcons should look going into the first round, Connor?
I think they should kind of think about drafting a defensive back or a linebacker or someone on the defensive side of the ball, because they've been getting better, I can say that, but it's not 100% yet on the defensive side. They could have played better against New England in Super Bowl 51. I can say that, but it was kind of the pressure was on them when the Falcons couldn't do anything offensively. And I think that we need a veteran player like you said, Richard. We have the chance to draft, trade Richard Sherman for a 3rd or 4th round pick or both. I just think that they need a new defensive player who's been in the league a while, who knows what they're doing, not just some player out of college. Well, it always depends. It depends if they have a bunch of players who are known for doing what they do. But I think they can trade trade a team a pick, or maybe just get a veteran player on the defensive side of the ball. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Ryan's kind of screwing around right now, so I didn't hear your question fully, but yeah. I definitely agree they need to get somebody on the Falcons side of the defensive side of the ball. Do you have any names in mind, Ryan, for a defensive back or linebacker that could be a first-round pick?
No, not off the top of my head. I just know they need to get someone out there on that defense that can catch the ball and keep them from losing the Super Bowl next year.
Hardy har. So, guys, thank you for listening. You're listening to the Atlanta Teen Sports Center. We're going to go on break here for just a second, so we see you guys right after the break, so make sure to stick around.
Oh, yeah, you know where I'm from, you know where I stay. I'm posted in the A, feeling low, my feeling right now. Every time I ride by, almost, but not like this. Up in this, NTLA, I can do this all day. You know where I'm from, you know where I stay. Polo down to my socks, posted in the A. My Chevy sitting low, my Phantom riding high. The maze go off every time I ride by. Shawty, what's up? I'm the shit. Yeah, you can do it, but not like this. What's up? Up in it. ATLA, I can do this all day. Let me take you through the streets of Atlanta, GA, where we poured all night till the morning break. Baby on Sunday, Magic City Monday, $2 Tuesday, you know shawty coming. Body till Wednesday, pure on Thursday. Bottles on ice, case the girls get thirsty. It's so Friday, goons in the lobby. They told me don't hurt nobody. Push on Saturday, station right after. Headed to the yard by to see what's happening. So when we at the spot, man, you know we clown. Peace up, A-Town down. You know where I'm from, you know where I stay. Polo down to my socks, posted in the A. My Chevy sitting low, my Phantom riding high. The maze go off every time I ride by. Shawty, what's up? I'm the shit. Yeah, you can do it, but not like this. What's up? Up in it.
Let me tell my story right quick.
ATLA,
Yeah,
I
let's
can
go.
do this all day.
And welcome back, everybody, to the All Around Atlanta Teens podcast, or Atlanta Teens Sports Center, All Around Atlanta Sports Podcast, whatever you prefer to call us. We'll get back to the point. Moving on to Atlanta United. So Atlanta plays Toronto FC today, up in Toronto at 7:30. United second in the conference right now with 7 points, 2 wins, 1 tie, or whatever it stands for. Draw, and 1 loss on opening night after giving up 2 goals in the 80s. So, Connor, what are the factors that Atlanta United getting the win today?
Well, I think it all starts with the front offensive side. Justin Martinez is not going to play again today, but I think Miguel Almiron and Greg Garza, Yamil Assad, those 3 guys have to step up and rise to the challenge against this Toronto FC team with Josie Altidore. You got to watch out for because he's a really good striker who can put the ball in the back of the net without any problems. And I think that Atlanta United just has to watch out for that guy, Josie Altidore, number 17.
And news on the Atlanta United front, as everybody knows, Jose Martinez is out for 4 to 6 weeks, and that's shorter now, but Peterson is also, do you know his first name, last name, Peterson, Connor?
Jacob Peterson, I believe.
Yeah, and he's likely out for Atlanta United today, and do you think he'll be a big factor in the with him not out there? He scored the 6th goal against the Minnesota United up in Minnesota when Joseph Martinez had that hat trick and Miguel Almiron had that 2 goals that day. One of them was a big breakaway, and I think he's really good at those corner kicks. Like when he heads that one in to make it 6-1 at that point. I think that he should be back soon. I just don't know if he'll make a really big impact on today's game. Interesting indeed. I know I'm not having very good responses today instead of just saying interesting. Sorry about that, guys. So Ryan, what are your thoughts on how the Atlanta United should get the dub today, especially with the two key players out and injuries?
Well, I know you guys probably heard this a lot from me, but just being out there without winning mentality that's half of winning. If you don't have the right mindset, there's no way you're going to win. So I think they just need to go out there, play the best game they can play, and just get out there and do their best and hopefully win.
Moving on to Georgia, as we talked about earlier, UGA.
Yeah, UGA.
Easton treating spring practice like a true competitor with competition with the new signed quarterback. Can't think of his name, but a new backup quarterback who's young that can always be out there for Easton, because I'm sure Easton's going to get the job again this year. But Ryan, what are your thoughts on how Georgia's quarterback position could it get more interesting if Easton is likely to perform worse than he has in the past in the spring game?
Well, I don't think Georgia doesn't typically do their best in the spring game. They save it for the regular season. It's just kind of a fun thing for them to get out there and warm up and get the fans hyped for the season. But especially with the quarterback position, I think having that depth in the quarterback position, having a couple 5-star quarterbacks out there is going to help them.
Do you think there'll be 93,000 in the stands as well?
No, honestly.
Do you think there'll be 93,000 in the stands just like last year, Connor?
I think we'll be a similar team and similar.
No.
Similar season to what was it?
I'm saying, do you think there'll be 93,000 fans out there like there was last spring game, like Kirby Smart said he wanted there to be?
I don't believe so, because the spring game is nothing much to see. I'm probably going to go to the Georgia Tech spring game just to kind of prospect to see what's going to go on in their season. But I don't think so, because the spring game isn't really that big of a deal. I think people, the 93,000 people, most of them probably thought, this isn't a very entertaining game. I don't think it'll come next year. So I don't think it'll be the same as it was last season. But I got to admit, as a Georgia Tech fan, it was pretty impressive to hear about Kirby Smart got 93,000 fans. out there for the Georgia spring game.
And another news out there for UGA football is 2 starters go down in the scrimmage game for. Was the spring game today?
Oh, I'm not sure. I have it on my phone.
So yeah,
I'm not sure when the spring game is, but I know when G Day is, and
that's the same day.
And what's that?
G Day is the spring game. Trust me.
Hold on.
My mom's a Georgia fan.
Hold on one sec.
Sorry guys, let me pause this. And we're back. Sorry I had to pause that for a second. The G Day spring game is in 13 days.
Yes.
But Georgia has a little bit of bad news in the injury front today in scrimmage and practice, as senior safety Dominic Sanders, a potential all-conference player, according to AJC, has twisted his knee a bit. Says, quoted by Kirby Smart, "It's a slight MCL. Probably could have gone if we had to." And also, redshirt freshman Solomon Kinley went out with ankle sprain. So, Connor, how do you think Georgia's going to have to deal with 2 of their star players out with injuries, and it's not even the normal season yet?
Well, it's going to definitely affect how they play. It really depends how much of an impact those players are on the field offensively. Or, wait, are they offensive players or defensive players?
Defensive.
Yeah, I think
It's a
it'll affect
disappointment to
defense
Georgia
and how many
We used
points
to
they allow during the game. I just think that'll be hard for Georgia to kind of cope with how those 2 players will be out for a while.
And Ryan, what are your thoughts? How is Georgia supposed to bounce back with 2 losses early?
Well, we've been getting a lot of good players lately, and I think we need to get there and recruit some more players to help in at their positions, or the kids they've already got need to get out there, step up, and play like they're the first strings, not the second strings, and maybe even take the starters' jobs right now. Like this is
We're doing a show.
This is their big chance.
And we're back, guys, so sorry for that delay. Getting back and moving on to Georgia Tech. Pull up my notes here, sorry, guys. Georgia Tech news, according to GeorgiaTechNews.com. I haven't pulled it up yet, so this is bad radio, guys. I'm sorry. Georgia Tech News Center. I pulled up so guys, and the notes I pulled up was an actual news site. So sorry about that. Now I got the Georgia Tech News Center up.
Boo GT.
You gotta be positive. But
Boo GT. Go Dogs.
Georgia Tech's spring game is coming up soon, especially with the loss of Justin Thomas on the quarterback front. Who do you think is going to be the number 1 guy out there to be the quarterback of the future at Georgia Tech, Connor?
I think it's going to be the guy who backed up Justin Thomas in the past few years. His name is Matthew Jordan. I think he's been a really good backup. I remember I saw him play a few times, and especially I remember watching him on TV against Virginia Tech, where he had to play because of Justin Thomas' injury, and Freddie O'Burden, the starting center, was also out that game, and they still beat him. So I think that was a great game for him to kind of try things out in the starting job, and I think he'll be a really good fit for Justin Thomas.
Come on, man. Hang out with Gators?
You're on a live podcast right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, Connor. I definitely say Matthew Jordan is a good backup. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, he did play pretty good against Virginia Tech in the other 2 games that he was injured when Justin Thomas was injured. And this is a silly question, but how is Georgia Tech getting all these quarterbacks with first and last names that are realistic? Justin Thomas, Matthew Jordan.
I don't know. I guess it's just the name. I don't know.
And how do you think Georgia Tech's basketball program? I know they lost to TCU in the NIT championship, and Georgia lost to Belmont in the first round of the NIT. So how do you think Georgia Tech would bounce back, and what seed do you have them in the NCAA tournament next year if they end up winning more road games?
I have them in no tournament next year. They will not be making the top 64.
And you hear that from Ryan. So Connor, where do you have
I
Georgia Tech?
think they'll make it next year. The way Josh Pastner has been improving this team, they got all the way to the finals to play TCU in the NIT tournament. They won the first round of the Final Four for the NIT. I think they're improving a lot because everyone thought they weren't going to win any ACC games, but they won 8 ACC games. So I just think it's a matter of players staying healthy and being smart with the basketball. I think they will make it to the NCAA tournament this next year.
Sorry to say this, Connor, but you're wrong.
Another thing to look out for in Georgia Tech is hopefully one of these two teams.
Do you watch Georgia Tech?
No, I do not. Go Dogs.
Exactly. So how would you know?
Go Dogs. That's how I know. Go Dogs. That's how I know.
I'm a Florida fan, guys.
And who lost to Belmont again? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go Dogs.
Where,
GT stinks.
Where's even Belmont? Okay, you guys lost to Georgia Tech.
That is an I don't know. Go Dogs.
And you guys lost to Georgia Tech this year in football. Yeah. Moving on to, let's see, what have we not covered here? The Atlanta Dreams, the WNBA team in Atlanta, about to start their season in a few weeks. Went to the WNBA finals a few years ago. Kind of slipped down since then, and are 2 or 3 years ago, and got a new coach and have barely made the playoffs the last few years. What does the Dream have to do to be able to keep on with their championship pattern?
It's just all starts with Angel McCautry and how she can set up how offense works for the team. And I don't really know much about the team except for how she's like the star player and everything. And I'm sure you know more than I do and everything. So how do you think that they'll get that?
Well, with the new coach, I think they should probably, if they can get another good draft pick out of last year, I don't know if they were able to, but if they are, see what they can do, and that way we'll be able to see if they've improved or not, because they went from being in the finals pretty much every year to losing in the second or first round, which is still okay, but not as good as a championship contender a few years ago. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't have much to say about the Dream. I don't know a ton about basketball. I'll go ahead and admit that. But I think, again, just with the winning mentality, they need to get out there and just, what I said the whole time, just get out there and do their best and have fun and win.
Moving on to the Georgia Swarm.
That's something I know about. The sport I know about.
The sport that Ryan has been looking for this whole show.
Sport I know about.
What do you think? Who's your favorite player on the Swarm, Ryan?
Lyle Thompson by a mile.
Lyle by a mile.
Yep.
So who's your favorite player on the Swarm, Connor?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Who's your favorite player on the Swarm?
I don't really pay attention to lacrosse that much, but I think that I heard that they won against Open New England last night, but I don't really, it was like 21-12, but I don't know much about the Swarm, I'm sorry.
Well, they did just clinch a playoff spot, 10-4 is their record. And they still have 2 home games to come out, so make sure to come out and support your Swarm on April 15th and April 29th over at Infinite Energy Arena. It'll be fun, and the Swarm are a fun team to watch, so especially with the young talent they have and been able to produce out there, the fun goal music and it's just a fun time. So make sure to come out there and support. And so, yeah.
Go Swarm!
Moving on to the Atlanta Blaze over in Cobb County, the outdoor Swarm, the outdoor lacrosse team.
A lacrosse team I don't know about.
They had a down year last year. It was their first year, but how do you think? Ryan and I talked about this earlier, but how do you think they're supposed to have a bounce back year and get a better fan base out there than what they had the first year, Connor?
Well, like I said before, I don't know much about lacrosse, so you guys can continue.
What are your thoughts on that same question, Ryan?
They've got a lot of young talent, especially them being the Georgia lacrosse team, and the Swarm are definitely going to be better than them this year because up in Minnesota, they've played, and then they moved down here in Georgia, and the Blaze have just started in Georgia. This is the first time this is the second season this team has ever played, and they need to go out there and score some goals and do what they got to do to win. And it's going to be just fun to watch them. It's been fun to watch them so far. It's going to be fun to watch them in the future.
Moving on to the Atlanta Braves farm system. The Gwinnett Braves and the Mississippi Braves and the Rome Braves all opened up their seasons this last weekend on a pretty good note. I mean, the G Braves did fall last night to Durham in 13 innings with a 6-4 loss. Connor, how do you think the Gwinnett Braves are going to do this year?
I think they'll have a pretty good season like they did last year. They made it all. I heard they made it all the way to like the World Series for
AAA.
so to speak, for the AAA league, and I think that it's been discussed how they've been the greatest minor league system in baseball. So I think it'll be a really good. Have a really good season, and I think it'll boost the Braves up, the Atlanta Braves up as well. When they send players back to AAA and they move back up to the majors, I think it'll be nothing but good things coming from down there in Gwinnett.
And your thoughts on how the Mississippi Braves are going to do this year, Ryan? The AA team?
Well, honestly, I don't know a lot about baseball anymore. I used to know a lot, but I don't really know about the Mississippi Braves, so I can't say a ton. But I know they're a AA team. They need to get out there. And since they're a feeding team for the Braves, all their players need to perform well. And I hope these guys get up to play on the actual Braves team.
Connor, what are your thoughts on how the Mississippi Braves should do this year? Because they made it to the World Series for AA as well. They didn't win it, but they made it to it.
Well, I just know that that's where Dansby Swanson came from. He went to AAA as well, and Ozzie Albies, I think he's in AAA right now with the Gwinnett Braves. And I don't, and like you said, I think they made it to the finals for the World Series for AA this last year, and I don't really have anything else to say.
Moving on to our final topic before we get to that, how do you think the Rome Braves, after winning the championship last year in Single A, how do you think that they'll do in this season, Connor?
I think they'll have a really good year. I don't know much about the Rome Braves. I don't really pay attention to them as well as I do with the Gwinnett Braves. But from what I've heard, I think that they've had a bunch of success. They've sent a whole bunch of players to the Mississippi Braves, and I think that it'll continue with nothing but good news. And I think I wish the best for them in this upcoming season.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to take a break here before we get to our final.
When we began.
Everybody, moving on to our final topic of the day. Come out and support your Atlanta Gladiators tonight over at Infinite Energy Arena for their last game of the year. No, they are not made the playoffs yet again, but come out and support them.
They're the best hockey team.
They have fan appreciation night. Come out and get some prizes, watch some hockey, and yeah. So Connor and I will be there later tonight. So come meet us if you want to see over in section 112. So Connor, how do you think the Gladiators? How do you think the Gladiators fans will come out and support them tonight?
Well, like you said earlier, it'll be more, attendance will be a lot larger numbers as it has been in this season. I just think the way that the fans want to come out and support the team. I was at the game just on February 18th against the Adirondack Thunder, and they won 4-3 in overtime. That was a great performance by the team, and it was a pretty good crowd there as well. And I hope that, as I heard tonight, will be. And I just hope, I will hope the best for the team moving forward, and I hope that they will have a really good performance tonight. What do you guys think?
Ryan?
Well, as I said, I don't know a ton about much sports, but lacrosse. That's why I did the lacrosse show. By the way, go check that out, the lacrosse show. But for the swarm, that's Nick. For the gladiators, like I said multiple times today, and you guys out there already know what's coming. Winning mentality. And they just need that fan support.
Our question
Get
is,
out there and win their last game of the season.
the question was, what do you think? How do you think the fans are going to support them tonight?
Well, I hope they're going to be out there and cheer on the Gladiators in the last game of the season. Gladiators aren't that big of a hockey team. They're not even major leagues. But they need to just go out and do what they do.
And you heard it there. My thoughts are, I'll be there, as I said already, but the Gladiators
I'll
are...
also be there in
Yes.
attendance as well as Blake is.
And Ryan couldn't come. We tried to get him to come, so yeah. Sorry, guys. The whole crew's not going to be there. But,
Yeah, I'm the best out of everybody.
Okay.
You guys are probably really upset I'm not there.
But thank you guys for listening. You're listening to the Atlanta Sports Podcast, or All Around Atlanta Sports Podcast, or the Atlanta Teen Sports Center. We will have bigger groups for the show later. When we cover more than one sport in a show, we'll probably try to get 6 or 7 of us on one show. But sorry, we just had to make do with what we have, people that could do the show. So thank you guys for sticking around, and we'll see you next time. Go A-Town.